the whole thing wobbin', wobbin', wobbin'. When I come around, got the whole thing wobbin'.
Alright, so I'm going to go over with you guys the quickest way to get done with these real deals, objectives, and a little bit of other stuff because there's a little bit more to talk about. I do want to give a shout out to Matthew Rivera for being a part of the Noti Gang. If you guys want a chance to shout out in the next video, drop a like in the vid, make sure you guys are subbed to the channel, turn notification bell on, comment down below, Noti Gang. Also, for those of you guys that have signed up on Underdog Fantasy already using code ZERK, or do sign up on Underdog using code ZERK, be on the lookout. I should have a little special announcement for you guys tomorrow. But if you guys sign up right now using code ZERK, they will double your first deposit up to $100. You also get a Jokic 0.5 point special. And on Monday, they're going to be giving away $1 million in Underdog Fantasy funds. As long as you guys are on Underdog and you've submitted a pick'em or done a draft, you are eligible to get a share of the $1 million in funds. My NBA picks for today are up right now over my Twitter. All right, so starting off, let's go over these objectives first, then we'll get into everything else I want to talk to you guys about. But for those of you guys that don't know, why do you want to go through and do these objectives? Well, if you want to go ahead and pick up any of these players' full cards, you absolutely want to go through and do these objectives because the tokens that you get, the upgrade tokens, number one, with 2 tokens, you unlock the final custom bucket in the players, and number 2, you actually get their custom X factors to like the best stage. Roman Reigns is someone who is, in my opinion, one of the absolute best ones that came out today. And with this Roman Reigns card, if you guys go ahead and you get both of these objectives done, you get the 2 upgrade tokens, and then you get Unstoppable Force for 0 AP, and I believe after 6 plays, it stays on the rest of the game. The same thing goes with a lot of these other players and their, custom X factors that they get. So that's why you'd want to go ahead and do this. Now, I do want to let you guys know, the top objective in every single one of these players, you can see it does say in a head-to-head game, in a single head-to-head game, with the real deal hero plus Roman Reigns. Now, as you guys can see here, it says in a head-to-head game. I do have to confirm with you guys that yes, it is head-to-head, not solo battles, at least as the moment that I've been told. Solo battles does not count towards that. So you are going to have to play a head-to-head game to get done with those personal objectives. I'm going to go over the bottom ones, which solos you guys want to go through and play to get done with the sacks, everything else, because you do get 1 token, and 1 token will get you the custom X factor, but it will not be the absolute best version of the X factor. With 1 token, you get the X factor, then it deactivates after like certain objectives hit. So you want to get both, but obviously doing it head-to-head is a little bit harder. So we're going to talk about how to get done with the ones here, the best solos to play, whatever. Also, I do want to say this, though, in terms of like, well, what's the best way to do it in a head-to-head? Well, obviously getting 3 sacks in a game, passing for yards, like you just kind of have to focus on that. This one, I will admit, it's kind of tough, all right? 3 interceptions in a single head-to-head game. People quit out before 3 picks, so like that's really tough to do. Same thing with this with Fred Williams, like that's just really hard for Fred Williamson. Howie Long, 3 sacks in a single game. A lot of people are kind of confusing these though. You don't have to do 3 sacks in a game with Howie Long, just like with Roman Reigns. You don't have to get 3 sacks with Roman Reigns. They just have to be in your lineup. But honestly, my best piece of advice to you, and I know it sounds crazy, but it might just work. When you go into a head-to-head game, message your opponent. Literally message them and say, hey, I'm trying to get 3 sacks, or hey, I'm trying to do this or whatever. And depending on who you run into, I know a lot of people currently are doing that and trying to get everyone to, kind of get involved so you can get done with these objectives. Just message your opponent. They might be okay with throwing you 3 picks or getting sacked 3 times. But it is really important to note here, one thing, guys, is that with these ones, with the Roman Reigns, the Terry Bradshaw, Burt, Brian, Nnamdi, and Gronkowski, you don't need the 98 overall, okay? It says 95 plus. So as long as you have at least the 95 overall Rob Gronkowski, and the same with all of these, as long as you have the 95 overall in your lineup, don't have to be a starter, they can be a backup, whatever, the objectives will track. Except for as the moment I'm recording this video, Burt Reynolds, for some reason, his objectives are straight up just not tracking. With Howie Long, Hines Ward, and Fred Williamson, you just need to have 2 95-plus overall players in your lineup, the real deals players. You don't even need to have the LTD versions of these cards, just have 2 of these 95s in your lineup. So you can kind of work on getting these 3 objectives done while working on these. That being said, let's talk about these objectives that you guys want to go ahead and do. Number 1, to get done with any of the objectives for passing yards, passing TDs, which would be Terry Bradshaw, Hines Ward, and also the Gronkowski. You want to do this one, Legends Week 5, Calvin Johnson. You start off on the 18-yard line, so that's 82 passing yards and also a passing touchdown you can get every single time that you redo this. That's the one that I've been doing. As for the interceptions, the sacks, and the tackles, well, that one is obviously going to take a little bit more to just get the tackles. And yes, I know that you could just straight up go ahead, play head-to-head, and try to work on getting that done there with all of that, because obviously you need to try to get sacks in the game, interceptions in the game, whatever. This is the solo I'd recommend. Troy Polamalu final challenge right here, and that is going to start you off at the 50-yard line. Don't allow more than 20 yards this drive, and don't allow any points on this drive. Now, what a play I would recommend you guys run here is very, very easy. I've talked to you guys about the solo challenge many times. I do run Ravens defense, by the way. That's me formation, nickel, double, A gap right here, and then mid blitz. I've ran this 100 times. I probably showcased for you guys 100 times as well. And essentially, you just want a user on whoever is manned up versus the running back. You're going to run the play, and this will get you interceptions. This will get you sacks. This will get you tackles as well. Obviously, the picks are a little bit harder to kind of just like force, but for me, just replaying this solo challenge over and over and over again, you will occasionally get picks. You know, they'll chuck up something like right here. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw something. Sometimes they'll roll out like that. Deshaun Watson will, and will throw like a corner route right there. 3rd down and 23, though, already coming up. And trust me, I wish getting 3 sacks in a single game, because we already got 3 sacks right here, would count towards the Roman Reigns with the, you know, head-to-head one. But yes, again, it has to be in head-to-head. Doesn't sound maybe as crazy as it could be, because the sacks are not necessarily the challenge, getting 3 sacks in a single game. The picks one is going to be the hardest one for you guys. As you guys can see, I just got the 20+ sacks done right here for the Howie Long. And the final objective that we need to talk about, though, is going to be the Burt Reynolds, and that is rushing touchdowns. Now, again, as of the very moment that I'm recording this video, which is 4:25 here, it's currently not working in terms of tracking the rushing TDs. I don't know when it will be fixed, but as you guys can see, we come down to Legends, and we go to Fred Taylor right here on the first solo. All you have to do is score a rushing touchdown. You start off in the 30-yard line, run it in, easy TDs. It's 1 star. Very easy stuff. So that is how you guys work on those objectives. Again, you know, the head-to-head stuff. Yeah, you're just going to have to play head-to-head. Like, there's really no workaround for it. You just got to play head-to-head. Best case scenario is you message your opponent and he allows you to sack him or throws you 3 picks. But a lot of these other ones, like, you know, 125+ rushing yards in a game, that's just going to come down to your scheme. Not allowing 21+ points, that doesn't sound all that bad. 4+ passing TDs, again, sacks, passing yards. The interceptions, though, I don't know what EA was thinking with that one. Some other things I do want to tell you guys about is, number 1, the Carl Werther's the free card. If you guys follow me over on Twitter, then you saw this info and you could have done what you wanted to with it. But when the card first came out, he actually quick sold for 65,000 training points. He now does not quick sell for anything. You can't sell the card. So they changed that pretty quickly there. Andrew Whitworth, though, you guys get this actually from the field pass, I think level 45. But you guys can see he quick sells for 65,000 training points. So if you, for some reason, get this Whitworth and you don't want to be stuck with the card, then yes, you can quick sell him for 65,000 training. But in terms of the abilities on him, like, you know, they're solid. Lifeguard for 0. Obviously, Identifier is when you want to run him for 0. Scare Protector for 1 AP. I know that I personally would say that Andrew Thomas is still probably the best left tackle in the game, because you get the 0 AP Secure Protector, which is massive, and also 0 AP Linchpin, and you can run both of those at the same time. So if for some reason you don't want Whitworth, you can go ahead, you can quick sell him here for, you know, 65,000 training points. And probably that's only if you have Andrew Thomas. And the final thing I want to talk to you guys about is actually this right here. If you go to EA's website, they might have changed it by now, but I took this screenshot earlier today. As you guys can see right here on EA's website, for key players, you notice some of the players that they listed for the Real Deals promo. Well, there's 2 players on there that actually are not in the game right now, and that'd be John Amos and Ed O'Neill. Now, Ed O'Neill is pretty famous for being Al Bundy in that movie. I do believe it was a movie there. I'm a little young, all right, but I do believe it was a movie. But Ed O'Neill and John Amos, those are 2 players that they listed right there on EA's website that are not in the game. Now, seeing as how there's only 2 players listed under key players that we didn't get, you would assume those are limited. So don't be surprised, guys, if maybe on like Sunday or something, or potentially just next Thursday, we end up getting 2 more limiteds for the Real Deal LTDs. However, we do know that with Season 5, we are supposed to be getting the Ring of Honor promo, and you would have to assume that that's next Thursday, because that'd be the final promo for Season 5 there. So I don't think it's going to be like next Thursday, that's all we're getting is, you know, 2 more limiteds. I think it's just going to be like Sunday or Monday or something, just randomly, EA is going to drop those two, John Amos and Ed O'Neill, as LTDs. Oh, with that being said, guys, hopefully you did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure to drop a like in the video, and of course hit that sub button down below. Check out Heroic Fantasy, use code ZERK, and if you guys have signed up using code ZERK, be on the lookout tomorrow. We'll catch you guys with a pretty special announcement. And if you guys enjoyed this video, check out these.